It's your boy Icon with a Marvel TV review for you. And after watching episode 2, I really hope this magic thing turns into something. Otherwise, it's going to be a complete waste of time. I mean, I don't know. I feel like I need to let this play out first before I give my thoughts on how I feel about it. But like I said before, I think the show is grounded enough to the point where we don't need the magic. But I do want to see where the magic comes into play and how it turns out. So that's it, your boy Icon with a Marvel TV review. Before we get started, hit the notification bell, hit the like button, subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and let's get on with a little echo. So in this particular episode, we're going back in time and we're still doing the thing with, with the ancestors of the past. So we had different groups on the battlefield. I'm thinking these groups are going to come together and have a war to see who's the toughest group and who's going to take over the land and, lead all the ice survey or whatever the case may be. And they're playing pickleball. Like, I was stickball. I don't know what they was doing, but I thought something that was going to turn into like this serious battle for supremacy. It turned out to basically be Quidditch. Like they had the Native American version of Quidditch. So, and then after that was over, there was one particular woman. She was in that group, and while she was trying to fight for her tribe or, her people, I guess, to win the sporting event, while everybody was making a mad scramble to try to scoop up this ball, she ended up tapping into the same ancestry, from like the beginning in the caverns all the way up until now, the same way that Echo did when she was asleep in the first episode. So I'm just like, okay, so these powers is becoming a thing. Let's just hope by the time we get to the end, this actually connects to something and it legitimately means something. So now in this particular episode, so Maya, and the thing with Maya, I don't know, the way she talks to people, no pun intended, it's kind of rude, you know what I'm saying? Like, she's very, like, demanding, and I don't know why, like, everybody's just taking it from her, because they actually don't have to help her if they don't want to, but her cousin, she ran up on him, and then she told him, she was like, bro, can you drive this truck, because I need you to get me some supplies from the city. So he goes, he gets the supplies, gives her the supplies. She then tells him, she's like, yo, I need you to drive me somewhere, come on in. So she gets in the truck, he drives her down to, I guess, to the train station, and while they're driving, well, they were at a bridge, and then while they were at the bridge, she basically gave him a tracker for her, and then she said, I need you to follow me and then pick me up. And then he was like, what are you going to do? And she said, I'm about to catch a train. She jumped off the bridge and she landed on top of a moving train. So her cousin gets in the truck, starts following the train because he's just like, yo, this bitch is crazy. And then while she's on the train, she goes into, because the train that was coming, it was a transport vehicle that was transporting some items to Wilson Fisk Landscaping or whatever the Fisk building is. So she gets onto the train. She goes into the train car that has the Wilson Fisk items in it. So and it was actually kind of slick how she did that, because she cut a hole into the floor. She put the little camera in to see if anybody was there first. And then after she put the camera in and saw that nobody was there, she popped up, she did what she had to do, and then she went back through the hole, she sealed the hole, and then walked away like nothing ever happened. Her cousin picked her up, and then after her cousin picked her up, he basically took her home. And then he was like, whatever you stole out of that train better have been worth it, because you almost killed yourself, because during the whole thing of her trying to get off the train, she got her fake leg caught in the mechanics on the train, and when she was trying to pull her leg free, so she can get away, she ended up then tapping into the powers of the ancestors. That's why they showed us that clip in the beginning. And then when she tapped into the power of the ancestors, she was able to separate her leg, from whatever the mechanical thing was. And then when she picked up her hands, both her hands were glowing. And I'm like, Jesus Lord, don't give her superpowers. Because the fact that she's deaf, the fact that she's a paraplegic, and the fact that she can still fight and she can still take care of herself and she's a badass, I'm like, leave it right here. Why are her hands glowing? Like, her hands don't need to glow. Please don't give this girl superpowers. So then, she doesn't even question the powers. She doesn't even question it. But then the next day, her leg is all busted up. So she goes down to the pawn shop to go talk to one of her peoples. And it's like, at this point now, damn near everybody in the town has seen her except her cousin. But then she goes down to one of her people who owns the pawn shop, and she's like, yo, can you make me a new leg? And she was very demanding about how she asked for that new leg. But then he was just like, okay, I'll see what I can do. He made her a temporary leg until he could make the real one. This is her version of getting a super suit, because every time we watch like a superhero TV show, the hero always, well, first of all, she's not a hero because she's trying to be the queen pin, but the hero always starts off one way, and then in the season finale or the second to last episode, they always get the new suit or the new weapon or the new thing with her is going to be a new leg, which is, I'm sorry, I laughed. I thought it was pretty funny. So then, so he was just like, no, I'll make you the new leg, which you're not going to get to the finale. So, so he was like, just use this prosthetic, that I made in the meantime. So she's back at the house. Now, while she's back at the house chilling, the train finally pulled into the fifth station. And when the train pulled into the fifth station, and when they opened the crates that was in the room that she had broken into on the train, it immediately exploded, killed a bunch of people, blew up the entire Fisk factory, which was her plan all along because she's trying to take it to Fisk so she can then take over the underworld. Now, the cool thing is one of her friends, the guy who was running the roller skating ring, and her grandmother, they work for Fisk, because when the grandmother found out that she was back in town, she came in and she was just like, oh, why is Maya here? It wasn't like the grandmother was just like, oh my God, why didn't she come see me? I want to see her. She was just like, oh, is she here to make trouble? I'm like, this chick is working for the kingpin. And then that's when the guy, he was like, no, he said she's just passing through. And then she goes, well, let's hope that's all she's doing is just passing through. And she concludes her business and goes on, goes on her merry way. I'm like, grandmama working for the kingpin. So the guy, he ends up calling, he texts her and he was just like, yo, you and I need to talk ASAP. About everything that's happening. And then she was like, well, they hit me, like I hit back harder. And then her cousin, because her cousin took his grandmother's truck to help Amaya jump onto a moving train, the truck ended up getting dinged up. And then he was on the wire, like basically telling everybody he's selling his PlayStation 4 because he's trying to get the money to fix his grandmother's truck. I don't know why he just didn't ask Amaya for the money, because I'm pretty sure she had the cash to give him to fix the truck. But then his sister got on the horn because she works for the fire department. And then she was just like, what happened to grandma's truck? And then he was just like, no, nothing. It just got a little banged up. And then she's like, are you okay? He was like, yeah, I'm fine. He was like, Amaya and I are both fine. And he's like, ah, shit. And then now the cousin's like, oh, Amaya's back in town. And then she texts Amaya and she was like, why didn't you tell me you were back in town? And I'm like, here we go. Like, the grandma didn't say all that. When the grandma found out, she was like, oh, Amaya's back in town. She was just like, yo, why this bitch back in town? Because she might ruin our plans. And the cousins were like, why didn't she come say hello? And I'm just like, here it comes. Here it comes. But that was pretty much it. And then in the end, like I said, Maya was talking to homeboy, and then he was like, yo, stay out of it. I got to clean up your mess now. And then she's just like, yo, I'm out for blood. I'm going to tear a hole in their asses. That's how the episode ended. And thank you for tuning in. So, I mean, the only thing that really happened in this episode was the train sequence with her blowing up, like, the Fisk factory, and then the whole thing that the grandmother and the cousin now know that she's back in town. But this episode was shorter than the first one. And like I said, we're only getting 5 episodes. There's not much you could do with a series. Like, the girl can't talk, for Christ's sake. So it's not like you can extend this for like 20 episodes. So, I mean, the 5-episode arc with short episodes, it makes perfect sense. But, I said, but I'm still with it. Like, actually, I enjoyed the second episode. The first one was a little better. I enjoyed the second episode. And I look forward to seeing where things go from here. So check out my other reviews. Check out my part 1, first review for Marvel's Echo. Check out my other reviews as well as Marvel's What If. And we'll keep rolling on for some more superhero goodness. Check me out on social media, like and or subscribe, and I'll see you guys soon. So for the next time, guys, as we partake in more Echo action, take care, and I'm out this